and then we've done that mode. So if that, we're redoing that. Now this is for state 1, this is for patrolling. We don't have anything for this yet, and we won't. So I don't know why I put it in, but I did. So I was hoping to work on it later on, but I never did. So I need to learn that myself as well. So yeah, so else if where the enemy is, and then what you want to do, you want to go db rotate object, and you go en line of sight. Yeah, no, I've typed this a billion times, I know that much. And db object angle x, and we want to rotate it to the line of sight bar again. And we want to face it, do a 180 here, minus 180, so that it doesn't go behind the player, the bar, so that way the bar goes towards whichever way the player is facing, the enemy is facing. So that is done there. So then after doing that, you reset the timer, you say, yeah, so you go in line of sight timer equals line of sight timer. Now this isn't bar timer, guys, this is line of sight timer, let's remember that. Yeah, I made a small mistake here, guys. Just make sure you have exactly the same as I've got. En line of sight timer here, and we reset that, and then we have en line of sight bar timer at the top here. Okay, and then we reset that as well. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. And then we've done that mode. So if that, we're redoing that. Now this is for state 1, this is for patrolling. We don't have anything for this yet, and we won't. So I don't know why I put it in, but I did. So I was hoping to work on it later on, but I never did. So I need to learn that myself as well. So yeah, so else if, so yeah, this is never going to work. Well, it's never going to be activated unless you do it yourself. And same for me, really, I need to do it myself. So chasing, this is the bit where the enemy is going to chase the main player. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to call function, really known function, and we're going to find out a distance between 2 points. So we're going to do a function called distance between 2 points. Okay, we'll do a 2 in here, that's what I did for my old one, points. Okay, and then what you do here is you go, you want to send db object position in there, object position. You want to send x in there, and you want to go enemy holder I 0 object position x. Okay, so you want to send that in there. You want to. So what we're doing basically, we're gonna make a function in a second, a function that takes in basically two points, which are x, y, and z, and then x, y, and z again, and it takes those 2 points and it finds out the distance between them. So db object position z, and now for this point, just gonna copy and paste them 5 times so we can have, so do x, do y there, and do z there, bloody phone, and then we do x here again, then we do y there again, and we do z there again. But the difference is basically on this one you put the character because you want to find out how close the enemy is to the main character and do something about it. Okay, so you do that, and then you've got db distance between 2 points. Starting state 2, the chasing one. So yeah, just gonna finish doing this. X, Y, Z. Just make sure you've got the 3 coordinates for the enemy holder I0, and excuse me, and the 3 coordinates for character, because that's what you need to send in there. So now we need to do the distance between 2 points function. So void, no, actually it's not void, it's a float. I think we're returning float distance equals, no, actually float 2 points. That's it. So this is a float we're making, returning a float. Let's just check this out. So we're sending 6 values in here. So we're saying float x. The first ones are from the enemy holder, but we can use these for almost anything. So float y, float z, float x2, float y2, float z2. Okay, so these are all our good stuff. And you say float distance equals db square root, which is, I know some of you might know about how square root is inefficient and stuff, but I haven't been able to get rid of the square root part of the equation. So you go x2 minus x, okay, close that, and then that times by x2 minus x again. This would normally be squared, but squared is also quite inefficient, so you times them by themselves, and it makes it fairly easy, I think. Minus y, and then you do that again, and okay, and then you go that plus, so there's them two, and then that plus z2 minus z. Okay, and just repeat that. That will be the same as being squared, so you times them by each other. Okay, so then you close that, and you get that calculation. I mean, you could just go here, you can just go return that, okay. You can do that, I think, but you know, up to you really. So you go return, and then you go x2 minus x times x2 minus x, yeah, that's fine, plus y2 minus y times y2 minus y, and then you go z plus z2 minus, yeah, I think that's correct. So just gotta see if this way works. Yeah, I've got a few errors, I think, from the first bit. So I'm just gonna fix these quickly, and then we'll get back to that. Yeah, so that's that. En line of sight bar, and then line of sight timer, line of sight, the en line of sight timer. I see nothing wrong with that. Line of sight timer. Have I not declared it? Just gonna rerun it again. I don't think I declared line of sight bar. Sorry, I did light like an idiot. Line of sight, and then we got line of sight. So we got the timer here, which I think I forgot to declare at the top. Just gonna have a look at it. Line of sight bar. Yeah, I need this one as well. En line of sight timer, max enemy number, and then you've got that closes that, and then you got line of sight timer, and that's fine. There you go. We have it there. So we have it there. Let's just see what else we've got. And here the usual error that I always make, and it's like I never learned this one. DB object position y does not take 2 arguments. Where is that? And that is here. DB object position y. Yep. That was my mistake there. Plus 40, and then you close that one and close another one, and then you got, let's just see what else we've got, and we just got this one, the object position x, and we got to close this. I don't know why I keep doing these stupid errors. It's like I've never written in this before. So yeah, I was just checking if it runs. It does. So what we're going to do now, so we've done our distance between 2 points function. Alright, so we'll go back here. So this is so we can always know where the yeah, I kind of ran out of space with fraps there. So anyway, so this is so we can always be aware of where the player is in relation to the enemy, in this case at least. But we can use this to check the distance between any objects, any 2 objects, 3D, the 3D kind. Anyway, so what we do here, we say, you know, we find that out, and then we say if distance is greater than 800 and db timer minus en how long chasing is greater than 7,000. Okay, so this basically checks if the enemy has been chasing the main player for over 7 seconds. And if that is the case, then we bring him down to idle mode again, because he's been chasing him for too long, so he's got to give up. So we don't want an enemy that will chase forever, because that would just be stupid. And then we say initial turn equals true. Now, like I said to you before, this is for when you initially move. When the enemy initially sees you, he instead of turning and then coming at you, he was previously just coming at you without turning, so he was going like in some random direction near you, and we don't want that. So now this next function, move smooth A to B, is a function that I created based on some other people's code. Enemy holder I0 and this basically makes the enemy slowly rotate towards you, like make it kind of look natural, because there's a lot of functions that will make them turn, but it will look really weird, like they snap at you like a namebot or whatever, and that is not good. You don't want that. So basically you send the character you want to turn, the character you want to turn him towards, and the speed at which you want to turn him. So we'll do that. Let's just create this function now. We'll put the function up here. So void move smooth A to B, and we want to send an integer in there, initial object. And we got that, and then we got to send also int target object. So yeah, and then you got int rotation speed. So speed at which you want him to, rotate towards the player. So then first thing you want to do is you're going to go float old angle x equals db object angle x initial object. And you want to repeat that for all those points. So y z, and then you've got to do this db point object. So you tell this object to point to another object, so they face each other. So one faces the other one. And then you want to point initial object, is it? Yep, that's correct. So initial object, and you want to point him object position x target object, so it faces him position x, and then you just choose where he's facing, okay, and then object position y and z. So he then faces, then you got to record another 3 of them, which is float destination angle x equals db object angle x initial object. So then you take the angles at which they're facing again, and what you do is then you curve the distance between them, so it makes a smooth turn sorry, try not to swear, but I can't help it sometimes. And then you rotate the object, db rotate object initial object, because that's the one you want to rotate, and you want to rotate him by using db curve angle, right? And this is why we did all that for. So you go destination angle x. Oh, guess we made a mistake here. Destination angle x, and then you go old angle x, and then you say rot speed. So you curve that angle there, and then you do that again, and you just copy this, right? So and you do that again. You go destination angle y, and then you go old angle y, and once again rotation speed, and then you do it one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to do that in the next line. And you do that one last time, and you do it for z. So in this case, this is the speed at which it turns. So if you do decide to make it faster, you'd have to reduce the speed, because reducing it makes it faster. That's just the way it works. Okay, so I think we should try this. Why not? Oh, damn it, you can't. Yeah, I guess I made a mistake there. Int initial object. Oh, damn it, I'm an idiot. Yeah, so there's that. Rot speed has clearly been defined here as well. I just did it caps for some reason. And then missing before, I made a little mistake there, and then you do that, and then you put that one in. And I think we're good. So let's just check it working. So let's see, if the enemy sees me, I don't know if... So there we go, we got the first enemy spawning. Right, so here I am. His bar might hit me, if it does, let's see. No, his bar isn't alive yet. Yeah, yeah, I haven't got the hit collision yet. So there we go, we got our first one. He saw me, here we go, you can see him. The crazy bastard's looking at me. Stop staring at me. So, here we go. Alright, so that's that there. Okay, so just having a quick look at my hard drive space because I don't have much of it left. Anyways, so that's that, and then we've got this bit done. So we've got the move smooth A to B now done. And then we want him now. So you go if db timer, if db timer, if db timer minus en movement update. See, this is the enemy's movement we're going to handle now. Update I is greater than 100, so we're updating the movement every 100 milliseconds, okay? And initial turn, so if the initial turn has happened already, so we're going to do equals true. So if this has happened, then we allow him to move. So every 100 milliseconds we update his position a little bit. So float and Y, this is to find out which way he's facing the enemy. Object angle Y, and we put enemy holder there. It's going to be lazy again. And we put that there. Yep, that's right. And then we got float applied force. This is the speed at which we want to move the enemy, and we call that at 20.5. That's the speed at which he moves towards the thingy, the main player. VXEN equals I think this is our old formula that we use for the movement of the main player, and it's pretty much the same for this. VXEN, it's a capital N. I keep making that mistake, and I will get told for those mistakes. Plus dB sine hang Y. Okay, so that's that, and then you times that by applied force. Okay. Plus is it, and then you do VZ. We got VZ here. Change that to VZ. dB. You change it to cos as well, by the way. dB cos, and same the angle, and you times them by each other, and then you say en movement update I equals timer. So you're saying only move again in another 100 milliseconds, because you've already moved. So float apply force, and then you go VX, just making sure this is right, and there you go, that's about it. And that's all we need for that bit. Okay, so what we do now is we go if distance is smaller than 75, which is, I think, a fair enough distance for the enemy to attack the main player. So if he's close enough to the main player, okay, after chasing him, I've been hit timer. Now this is the timer that we use when we hit enemies. Then we reset this timer and don't let them move for a whole second. So anyways, if the enemy is close enough to the player and he hasn't been hit, then you go enemy holder high 4. So you change their state into state 3, which is the attacking state, and en attacking equals true. Okay, so you set attacking to true, and that's that. So now else if you just do that, but except with 3. So else if and hold equals 3. So this is attack mode, this one. So just gonna make sure you know that. And basically in attack mode, we say initial turn equals false turn equals false. It's false. Reset that, and then we say we do the distance as well. We want to find out the distance between the players, so we're going to do just like we did above here. Just going to do that. So float distance equals distance, and so we find the distance between the player and the character and the enemy. And we do yeah. So if now we check if the distance is greater than 75. Okay, so if he's no longer anywhere near, if he's nowhere near the player enough, at least close enough to attack, then and let me just do that. Yeah, so if he's just outside the range of the attacking, and en attacking equals, that should have been en attacking. Actually, I made a mistake there. En attacking. Sorry about that, guys. But I forgot to put the I here. En attacking I equals false. So en attacking I equals equals false. So if he's not attacking and he's great, you know, well, you actually set him to chase mode. So, and then you say en how long chasing equals db timer. Yeah, I forgot to do the array part of that, but do that, and then you go timer. So basically you reset the chasing timer, so you give him 7 seconds to run after the enemy, the player. So if he doesn't find him, then quit. Otherwise, go after him until you can attack him again. So you change him into chasing state if he's outside the range. Yeah, how long chasing equals db timer, and then we say if db timer. Now this next bit is to repeat the attack on the timer. I is greater than 1200, and en attacking I equals false. So if he's not attacking, right, and he's because when attacking is false, in this case it means that he's already attacked. I've been hit. Timer is greater than 1000. Keep forgetting the array part to this, don't know why, but yeah. So basically this one is to repeat that attack. So if he was attacking and he's in attacking mode, en attacking I equals true. So you reset their attack because he's just exceeded the attack timer, and you set the attack to true. Okay, so and then you go else if db timer. Now this is something we do here, minus en attack timer is smaller than 1200. So he's attacked, and now there's a small break in between each attack, and that's where this comes in. Minus en attack timer. So yeah, as you'll see here, right, greater than 300 milliseconds, and en attacking I equals false equals false. Okay, so here this basically means that when after a player attacks for 300 milliseconds, which is 0 to 300 milliseconds, he basically, right, yeah, so we give the enemy a few milliseconds to move towards the player again. So if we attack the player once, odds are the player will move so he doesn't hit him again. So we move him once again as close as he can for that amount of time. Enemy holder 0, and then we smooth move him again, character, and we move at 30 speed, a little bit faster this time because we want him to go for another attack. He's already annoyed, and so on. So basically just here now, okay, we've done that bit, and what we're going to do now is now we're going to update no, actually not going to do this yet, but yeah, no need to do this yet. These are the enemy's hit cubes that we're going to update here, so we'll leave some space for them. Update enemy hit cubes, so we'll handle those when we get to them. So basically what we've done here is the update enemy, so we should have an enemy chasing us now. Once again, new mistakes are us here. EN attacking, EN attacking. I think it's big EN, isn't it? Yeah, so it turns out we forgot to do EN attacking, so let's just declare that variable up there. Yeah, so it's a boolean, and let's just go up there and declare that. So these are enemy related ones, so we go bool EN attacking. Oh damn it. Bool EN attacking max enemy number. And we've got EN attack timer. Did we set that up yet? No. Int EN attack timer. And same happens here. And that's it for now. Okay, so EN attacking. Let's just see how many errors we can get rid of. Obviously that is one of them. And where's that? If distance, oh damn noob. Let's just see what we get now. Here we go. So let's just see if the enemy does come after us this time. So here we are, falling down. Little movement. So here I am walking by. Nothing wrong with that. Oh hello, Mr. Enemy. So I guess he's not coming after me. Let's try this one. Here I am. Once again. Just walking past him. Oh, hang on. See, here we go. This one's coming after me. So it looks like the line of sight bar isn't working, but the enemy is coming after us. See, there you go. It's close enough. You'll go into attack mode. There we go. That's the good stuff. Here we go. No animations though, but doesn't matter if I shoot. Okay, guys. So just realised I wasn't recording for a few seconds, but basically what we're doing now is all we gotta do is finish. Just do update enemy animations. This is what we're doing now. I haven't done anything else. This is what we're on. So basically, we have the play coming at us and everything. Obviously, we don't have anything happening. They're not, you know, running after you. They're not doing anything like that. Just moving towards you. So what update enemy animations is gonna do? So set it just above the dark GDK. And what we're going to do is, first thing we're going to do is a big for loop like we've done to all the other animations. And first thing we're going to check is player alive? If he is, then you then check, actually that's not the first check. The first check is, so yeah, this bit here checks, defines that the player is not getting hit. Okay, so we realize that if he's taking damage, you don't want him doing those normal animations, so you want him stopping. So if he's not getting shot or hit or whatever, or damaged, then what you do is you go, you check then if is he alive, right? And if he is, then you check what state he's in. So if enemy hold such a noob I am, it's getting a little bit confusing now. So basically, if the enemy is idle, which is the first state here, then you go if enemy, actually, yeah, it doesn't really matter what enemy type you've got, but you go movement, animation, EN. Now this is another function we are going to do in a second. Pretty good function that I did myself, which I thought was pretty cool. So movement animation, but basically this handles the movement of the enemy, and I'll show you it now. Basically, is most people tend to take this approach towards moving objects. So just got the thingy. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to do void movement animation EN. Do capital N, why not? EN, and then you go. First thing you got coming in is starting animation anim. Then you got int final anim. Then you've got int the milliseconds that you expect the in between each frame. Okay. And then finally you have int the element within the array. Okay, so now this tells you exactly what enemy are we moving, because you don't want to say move this when there's 20 enemies, because it won't know what you're talking about. So if db timer minus anim timer. Yeah, this is what we're gonna have to declare these functions in a second, guys. Element, probably should have chosen something smaller for this, within array is greater than or equal to the millisecs. Okay, so that's so if enough time has passed, then you allow it to change frame to the next frame, to the next frame. Just keep going like that. So if current animation en element within the array, might as well copy this because element within array is smaller than starting animation, or right, current animation en element within array is greater than final animation. So what we're doing is saying so if the current animation is smaller than or greater than, because obviously each object has its limit in frames, so we're saying if it exceeds that frame or is smaller than its smallest frame, then reset it to the first frame. So current animation en equals starting anim. Okay, this is to make sure the object doesn't start doing all kinds of weird stuff, because that happens when you're trying to put a frame that isn't there. So db set object, this is an internal function that allows you to choose which frame to put the object in. Enemy holder, then put element within array, and then you go 0 on that, and you go current animation en element within array. So this is our frame that we want to put in there, or change the object to. So current animation en, big N again, keep doing that wrong, then plus equals 1, so you increment that by 1, and then you go anim timer en, okay, and then equals db timer. So you reset the timer to say in another x milliseconds put another frame on, is what you're saying. So that's that. I think that should be alright. Just make sure there's no errors with that. Yeah, there you go. There's definitely going to be errors with that. But we need to declare these variables globally, so let's just do that. So here we go. These should all be big ENs. Made a small mistake there. I'm sure it wasn't the only one. So basically here we're going to do some more enemy related variables, and we're going to go for these are for the animation side of things. So let's just go for int anim timer en, and then you go max enemy number as usual because it's for the array, and then you go int current animation, we want that en, got that wrong there, current animation, because it's for enemies. Obviously you want, if you do at some point decide to have a player, an actual player, and you want his animations, you just do current animation. That's why I did that. And then you've got starting animation, which I just typed wrong, so that's we're starting animation at, here we go, there's our error, current animation, starting animation, and final anim is fine, current animation en, current, forget that, current, keep doing that, we're a noob. So you got that there, equals can be converted. So current animation en I equals starting anim, and that's fine. And then anim timer en, a little typo there. Element within array equals db timer. Okay, so that's that. I, what do you mean I is not declared? Oh, my bad, my bad. Getting used to the whole array thing. So anyways, that's our errors fixed there. So basically this does our idle animation. No point seeing it because it's just waste of time, but just gonna go back to it so I can refer to these things. So that's our first one there. If the enemy's idle, do that. Okay. So now if he's not idle, if he's chasing someone, for example, patrolling doesn't have any yet, but if he's chasing someone, let's go straight to that. If he's chasing someone, we want him doing you want from between 67 and you want to 84 frames, and you want at the speed you want this at speed of I think that's our speed, this one. Yeah, milliseconds. You want that at 25 milliseconds. Okay, because this is running speed. Okay, so that's that. And then you finally want the attacking one. Okay, so if player is attacking, equals 3. This one isn't quite as straightforward as the other ones, but it's not too bad. So equals 3, and then you do, before you get to that, you go if, well, not enemy, en attacking I equals true, and this is a variable we're going to do in a second. My health, that will be the player's health, is greater than 0. Okay, so only allow him to attack if the player's health is greater than 0, but we'll declare that in a second. Okay, so you do that, and then you say object collision. Now we're checking the objects for collision, and so we got to update something somewhere else in a second as well. But SC, just like we did with the bullets a while back, object collision. Except this is just between two objects. Enemy hit cube I. So we're checking the cube that we put in the enemy's hand. Okay, because that's what he attacks with. My collision hitbox. Now I don't know if I've declared this at all. No, I haven't, but we got to declare the my collision hitbox. This will be a box that we put around the main player, and we check if the enemy's hit cube hits our box. Taking damage equals false. So if the player is being hit already, and so then you do that, and there's our animation. That's where it goes. So the animation will be 27, between 27 and 49 at 40 speed. Let's bear that in mind. At 40 speed, sorry, not 49. So what happens? So if they do collide, which they will, then you go my health. So you want to reduce the main player's health equals 7 plus dB round. Okay, 7. So you're saying that the damage, this is up to you to choose as well, by the way. You're saying that the damage made by the claw will be between 7 and 14. I thought that was an alright thing to do. Ground chosen. Now this will be the sound that we get the main player to do when he gets hit, like you saw on the first video. Taking damage equals true, or the demonstration one, I'm not sure which one that will be, but taking damage equals true. Equals true. I've been hit timer, equals dB timer. Okay, so that tells you that the player's been hit, so don't let him take damage for I think about a second after that, and then take it back to normal. So these variables all haven't been declared, but we will declare them in a second. So just finishing this up quickly. So if db object frame, so if the enemy's frame, enemy holder I0 equals 49, because 49 is the frame in which he's got his claw. Well, no, actually this is the one where he stops attacking, so en attacking, because he's no longer doing the attacking animation, so you'd have to assume that he's no longer trying to do damage, or his claws at least shouldn't do damage. Attacking, so we turn that off then. Attack timer I. So we reset the attack timer so he can attack again in a second or so. And we do that, we close that, and then we do so, and then we say if he's not attacking, right, because he can be in attack mode and not attacking, so the minute when he's resting between each attacks, we want him to go back to just moving around. We don't go straight, all standing still, not doing anything. So we go 0 here, 23 there, so we take him back to idle animations, 80, and then I. Okay, so we send him back to idle animation, that's fine. So we've got that. Then I've got quite a few variables to declare now. I think we'll do a final one now, which will be if, actually that's the wrong one I think. Else if, yeah, that's fine actually. No, that's not right. We want to do if, yeah, so you're going to go else if, now, if the enemy is dead, basically, if he took damage, and we haven't sorted the damage, damage taken by the enemies yet, but basically if he's taking damage, we're going to make him movement, animation, en, and then we do 87. This is the death animation, by the way. 120 and 34. So he's died. We're gonna get rid of him. So it's not just the animation we got to do. We got to do a few other things. So if current animation en I equals 120. Now 120. I think his final frame would be something like 115, but 120 is basically a few frames after that. So we'll let him die, we'll let him fall on the ground, and then after a few milliseconds we'll get rid of him. Okay, so enemy holder I5 equals 2. So that is because when the I'm just setting that is he dead or not to 2, because that way the game will fully ignore him. Move object, and once his place gets used again, we'll spawn him again, and then we'll give him a life status again, whatever state, whatever. So I and 0. So we want to remove him from Sparkies because we have no need to update him now. So, and then we're going to db delete the object. Yeah. When I first did this, I had a lot of problems because if you're not careful, you can have a lot of crashes if you remove an enemy not the right way. So you gotta make sure you do these things properly. So that's that. So if your enemy's dead, then get rid of him. Do his final animation, bye bye to him. Okay, so that's that, and we are not too far from being complete, guys. So just letting you know that. I'm going to do F5 now because I've got a lot of variables to declare at the top, or a few of them. So my health, that'll be our first one. That'll be the main player's health, and we want to call that, why not call it up here, that's fine. Int my health equals 100. You can set it to whatever you like, that's up to you. My collision hitbox, we're going to have to declare that as